Hey up guys, welcome back. This is Retro Reborn, I'm Liam, and this series is Wreck to Ring, where we are taking my Mark II Golf that was vandalised and covered in paint stripper. We're engine swapping it, we're fully restoring it, and we're going to drive it to Germany for a few laps around the Nürburgring. Let's go. So, I know just how last video started where I was saying, I've gone for ages guys, sorry, it won't happen again. I've disappeared for ages again. But we've had a lot going on. So firstly, if you remember in the last video, I said that the clutch on my Mark IV Golf was slipping. Well, we needed to fix that because obviously it's my daily driver. And it became a bit more of a bigger job than I was hoping. So the last owner swapped it to a single mass flywheel, which in theory is a really good thing to do. Obviously it can handle the power from a remap slightly better, and also you don't have to worry about the flywheel blowing up. And so obviously the flywheel in a dual mass tends to go before the clutch actually does, and it's just a big ball ache to fix. So I understand why it was done, but the issue is trying to find a clutch that is going to fit that's designed for a single mass that fits onto the engine is a massive issue, because on VAG engines, and they're just really picky. You can't just mix and match brands. So the kit that was installed on mine was a Transmech, and you can't just put on, let's say, a Sasha's clutch. It has to be a Transmech one, and I searched for hours to try and find one. I was calling up places and they said the same thing. So I went into Eurocar Parts, I called up GSF Parts, a load of places basically. I called up and asking, oh, do you stock this clutch that I need? I need it for designed to fit a single mass flywheel, but that will fit on a Mark IV. And they're like, yeah, we do, but it's in, let's say, I think one of them was a Luck one or a Sasha's one, and they said you can't mix and match brands, because unless you're buying an OEM part, when it's conversion kits, the geometry on them's all slightly different. So you could do it, but you could have issues with the clutch slipping or excessive wear and stuff like that. And it's just, if you're going to fix something, you might as well fix it right, you know what I mean? There's no point buying something hoping that it'll work and then having issues again. So it's just, yeah, it's a bigger issue to try and find. Sorry, camera cut out there. But yeah, like I was saying, it's just you don't want to fix something then it be an issue in a month or two time, because you're just prolonging the inevitable. So it's just better to fix it properly and then hope for the best. But yeah, because we couldn't find the clutch for it, my options were buy the Transmech conversion kit again, have an extra flywheel and the other stuff, which is £360 I think, or I found a kit that was had an original dual mass flywheel and clutch for 100 quid. So we just converted it back to a dual mass, which I know if it ever goes again, I'll have to replace flywheel, which is a pain in the arse. But I didn't really want to spend 400 quid on this when I've got another project car. I'm traveling America in summer, I've got to save up for that, you know. It's more money that I was just wasting. So I was like, the cheapest way to actually fix it and not worry about it was to just convert it back to a dual mass. So yeah, we did that. And then secondly, we have had a garage extended. So the old garage used to finish here. So when we was working on cars, we'd literally have this space here to stand at a bench, which gets very annoying when you're trying to look for tools and stuff, you know, and you just stood and you've got no space to really turn around. So where this extension is now, we just used to have a shed. So essentially we just knocked this wall down and built another shed attached to it. But, you know, so we've got a load of room, and you might have just seen the next part of this video. Here we have it guys, the wiring loom. So you remember I said we were going to a place called Vagtronics in Stoke to get our wiring loom done, because instead of having to mess around with the ECU and stuff ourselves and splicing and doing all that jazz, figuring out the fuel pump and everything like that, it's a lot easier, we thought, to just pay 500 quid and have somebody do it for us. And it took a few weeks, and a bit of chasing down, but we got it a couple of weeks ago. Not a couple of weeks ago, it was about a week ago I went up to go get it. So yeah, we've got the wiring loom all sorted, and I'll just give you a quick show and explain it all. So this is basically everything for the fuel pump. He's essentially made us its own mini little fuse box, if you can see, with all the relays in it and everything for the fuel pump. And he's marked everything, so that's obviously for starter motor, that's the negative. I mean, he's done an incredible job on this, honestly. That's start it as well. No, that's the ignition. And yeah, he's see fuel pump. So because obviously the Mark II that I had was a 1.3, it didn't have a fuel pump, it had a carburetor. So it needed all this wiring done to it. So he's done all of this, you know, got everything to connect back onto the engine. He did the ECU and everything as well. The oil pressure, sorted all that out for us. It was nice enough as well to give us instructions to basically on how to install it all, to make it as easy as possible. So yeah, that explains the fuel pump a bit better. Let's give us this for the rev counter as well. So obviously 500 quid is a lot of money, but I think it's worth it. I think it was money well spent, to be honest. It saved us the headache of having to worry about it, and we've got the engine wiring loom fully sorted now, which is amazing. Just gonna get it fitted, which is the topic of today's video. We will be fitting the wiring loom. Hopefully we can get it maybe turned over a little bit, but we'll see. That's getting ahead of ourselves. Next thing that I thought I'd talk about, but a lot of people, well, someone, a lot of people, for say that I have like 100 viewers, having 2 people asking me a question is a lot of people. Ask about the fuel lines. So what we've done is we've used end fittings and braided fuel lines, because essentially we are using the Mark III GTI fuel pump and tank. So the fuel tank, we've gone with the Mark III one because it has the fuel pump already in it, and obviously with the Mark II it was different. So we've upgraded to a Mark III fuel tank, which it does basically fit perfectly, except on the bottom of the fuel tanks there's these bars going across. They don't 100% wrap around there. You can either buy conversions online or you can adjust them. Ours aren't fully milestone yet, but we're stripping the whole car soon. Anyway, once this is running, we're going to re-strip the whole car, and that's when we're going to paint it and make it look all pretty and get it into a much nicer state than it is now. As you can see, obviously got it all fitted in. So these are the return and flow fuel lines, and they go right down there, just where the stock ones from the Mark II used to run. So they ran in the exact same spot. You can see running them down here. So the way that we are fitting them, you can see we're using these P clamps with just some like these little clip things to hold it in place. I'll see if I can find the link for them to show you. But we're essentially running it where the original fuel lines ran. So the original fuel lines would have connected into these, and if you just twist these off, you're left with these little nubbin things. I can't actually see one. See here, it's left with these little nubbins. So essentially attach them to there and got these little clips to hold them in place as well. And then I did have another question weeks ago asking me what we're doing about the speedo. So with our engine originally had an O2J gearbox, but we have changed it to an O2A gearbox because the O2J originally had an electronic speedo, not a manual one like obviously the Mark II Golf has. But the O2A gearbox does let you screw in the manual speedo. I can't quite see, basically. Obviously we've got I'll show you. The original cable that I used to have screws in And there's a hole for it. I can't really see it at the moment. Just down there anyway, on the gearbox, it just screws straight in, just like the original one did. So yeah, that's what we're doing to avoid the headache of having to think of a way to have an electronic speedo and manual speedo without changing out the full dash, which I don't want to do. I quite like the original clocks and I like the dashboard. And I've seen people who have done like Mark III swaps where they put the Mark III dashboard in. I think it's so ugly. In my personal opinion, I think it is so ugly. Like, I think the Mark III is a pretty ugly car anyway, but it just doesn't fit, you know. The original is so good, why change it? So the next step we're going to do is go through the old wiring from the Mark II and just cut off what we don't need and find out which we need to keep and which we don't. So these are the old oil pressure switches, which I actually had an issue with one of these once where I was leaking into it. Got the distributor leads I need going. So got the old exciter cable for when you obviously turn on your car. Obviously you need to keep all this, which is the headlight wiring. But yeah, it's just going through all this because obviously if you can see where it runs through around here, we need to get all the old and new wiring to fit in here. So it's obviously looking out of the way and not looking like a cluttered engine bay. So you want it to look as clean, well, we want it to look as cleanly as possible. So we're just going to figure out what we need and what we don't need, and we'll show you once we've cut it off essentially. Guys, we've been getting the wiring loom all back on. We've pretty much got it all connected back up. There's just one plug here, which we can't find where it goes. I thought it might be an oil pressure one, but it's a completely different one. If any of you guys have an idea, it's got a green wire and a yellow and black one. So I'll put it in a few forums, just see if anyone else has an idea. But if you know which one it might be, just drop it in the comments because we'll appreciate it. But we've got it all sort of wired in now. So let's see if we can actually get it to turn over then. Wait. It's turning over, guys. That is exactly what you want to hear. So just got to get everything else sorted, get all the fuel running to it, and hopefully soon we might actually have a running engine and drive out of this garage. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it at that for today. I've got both the rear coilovers fully tightened up, and yeah, that's me done for today. So I'm going to leave it at that for this video. Obviously this was quite a fun video. You know, it's great to see that we've got the engine turning over again. Just the amount of work that's gone into it, money, time, and to get to a milestone like this, it's honestly, it's the best feeling ever. You know, if you told me, what is it now? If you told me a year ago today, and not only would my car get absolutely destroyed, in a year's time I would be engine swapping it, I would not believe you. I would. It's crazy, like how much can happen in a year, like honestly. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. You know, we are waiting for a fuel pump. I've got some parts down here which, you know, are nice and shiny. I'll tell you a little teaser, but you know, we should have some interesting videos coming soon. I've got a lot of other shiny parts down here as well, but you can wait until the next video for that. But yeah, that should be it for today. So thanks for watching, see you in the next one. So guys, I've been editing the video, and I spent a few days editing the videos because honestly I find it really boring. I'm not gonna lie, I love making the videos because I get to talk about my car, but actually sitting here watching the videos I made and editing, it's not my cup of tea. But I enjoy making videos because I like to talk about my car. But anyway, so yesterday the fuel pump came, and because we originally had the GTI fuel pump from a Mark III, and we didn't realise when it was in there that it was broken. So when we went to go prime the fuel lines and test it, it wasn't, the fuel pump just didn't turn on. So we bought a different one, and because we're buying one, I don't think this is a necessity, but it's better to future-proof it and make the car slightly more reliable. We got the fuel pump from the, I think it's a 2.6 or a 2.8, you know, the VR6 engine from the Mark III, the Mark III VR6. We got the fuel pump from that. So we fitted that in, and we got fuel running, and well, I'll let you see the video that I took yesterday.